everybody. Welcome to the Hallmark podcast. And we're really excited today. We have with us actress McKenzie Westmore with us. And McKenzie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So this is your first time on the podcast. And so we like
Mhm.
to get a chance to get to know you. And so why don't you introduce us to why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about you. You grew up in Hollywood, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm a true Valley girl. I was born in Van Nuys, California, so it doesn't get more
Yeah.
Valley than that. Um, my family actually, the reason why you see so much makeup behind me, it really goes back to my family's history. My family, my great grandfather was the wig maker to the royal court and Winston Churchill's barber. And then at the turn of the 18th to the 19th century, they went to Hollywood, opened up a wig shop. And it was a time of silent films. Adolph Manjou shaved off part of his mustache, didn't know what to do, went to my family shop on Sunset Boulevard, and they sewed together a piece of hair lace wig. And that was the birth of a makeup artist on a movie set, which did not
Oh my
exist up until then.
gosh.
So from
Wow.
there, my family, I always called them the makeup mafia because one of my great uncles ran a different studio at that time, like the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. They did iconic films like Breakfast at Tiffany's, Gone with the Wind, Ten Commandments, Creature from the Black Lagoon, like all the big
Wow.
iconic movies of that era.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2,500 films under the family's belt, something like that. A lot of cool stories there, a lot of like drama. It could be its own movie, and it might even be its own movie at some point. Um, but then moving forward, my dad went into makeup. He actually is the Guinness World Record holder for the most nominations in his category. He has 9 Emmys, an Oscar, a star on the Walk of Fame. So with that, I grew up in the industry. I grew up, my dad was Elizabeth Taylor's personal for 10 years, Sylvester Stallone's personal for another 10 years. I remember him, just barely remember him on Rambo and Rocky and all those different things. And then the whole thing with me started where I was 3 years old and Robert De Niro was coming over to our home to work with my dad for the makeup for Raging
Raging
Bull.
Bull. Yeah.
And
Oh,
he would babysit me. Robert De Niro was actually my
oh
babysitting
my
me.
gosh.
So he went to my parents, and I don't remember any of this. He went to my parents and he said, can she play my daughter in the movie? And that was kind of the start of it for me. And then I don't know. I guess something just kind of clicked for me where it just wasn't working for me. I went really shy. I actually went mute for like a year after that. And my mom, being Canadian, didn't necessarily believe in therapy for children at the time, so she put me in acting classes. And I loved it because it was like I got on stage and I didn't have to be me. I could be whatever I wanted. So
Hmm.
I started acting and then fell in love with it. Loved acting. It got me out of my shell. Then they heard that because my dad ended up doing the Star Trek. He started Star Trek Next Generation. He did 18 years of Star Trek. More so because he didn't see my sister and brother's childhood. He wanted to at least get his third child's childhood and be home. So one day, though, I was a little kid watching reruns of the original Star Trek, and they didn't know this, but the rerun was not happening. The TV was not on, but they overheard me singing. So they heard the theme song, and at like 7 years old, they realized that I could sing. So then they put me in opera classes. So from there, just the dancing, and my big goal as the years went on was I wanted to do Broadway. That was like the big goal for me. I've been
Okay.
singing, dancing, acting my whole life. Like Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, like doesn't get
Yeah.
better. So, long story short, that's where it all started for me. Then I got like few roles here and there as a kid on Star Trek and this and that. And then I kept auditioning for things, and things just weren't clicking. My dad then said, I think you should go off to college, go to a college. I don't want to see you not live out your dream. And
Did
but
you
I do.
consider going like doing like makeup and behind the
So yes,
scenes?
I did. Through high school, I did, and I did take courses in makeup because I thought, well, maybe this is not my calling. Maybe makeup is my calling because that's the family blood. So
Right.
maybe I'm just not meant to be in front of the camera. Maybe I'm meant to be behind the camera and just make people beautiful. So maybe that's what I'll do. So I did. I have a photo somewhere because I got really good actually with facial hair. And I have a photo of me with my hair slicked back, a full beard, mustache. I mean, I look like a dude. I look like a total dude. I think I did a pretty darn good job with that one. So, long story short, I had auditioned for Juilliard and Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, got accepted to both, chose Cincinnati because I wanted to go to Broadway. As I had done that, I had auditioned for Star Trek, had played a role on Star Trek Voyager. But the funny thing was is I had bleached my hair out for another Star Trek movie, was an extra in that. Because of the bleach, it broke my hair off. I had to cut it really short. And every time I would go audition for Star Trek, they'd see Westmore and they'd automatically say no, no to nepotism. So I went in, short blonde hair, because I have naturally really long dark hair, like almost black hair. So I go in with this short blonde cut and I change my name and I get the job.
Mm.
So
I
I
was gonna
was,
ask, like, what did you consider changing your name?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I knew. At that point, I was like, I have no other choice right now. So I played Ensign Jenkins, the second only female to like run the ship, basically, other than the captain. And after that, then I was getting ready to pack my bags for Cincinnati and had auditioned for 6 months for a soap opera called Passions. And I just was like at my wit's end. I was like, this is just not happening. And I get a phone call and they're like, okay, we need you to come back in for wardrobe. And I'm like, but you already have me fitted for my uniform as as ensign. Like, I don't get it. Like, I already have my Star Trek uniform. Why do I need to do another fitting?
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
like, no, 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 no. We need you to come in because you're Sheridan Crane, right? And I was like, what? And I'm like 19 years old, like, and I broke down sobbing. I'm in my parents' kitchen, like, what happened? They thought I got bad news. Like, what
Yeah.
happened? Is everything okay? I'm like, it's amazing. I got Sheridan. So that was the start of everything for me. I did 10 years of Passions, playing Sheridan Crane. Took a little break. No, I did all my children for a year. Did a couple of things here and there. Took a break. Went into holistic medicine, vitamin therapy, nutrition. Then I jumped over to a reality show called Face Off on Sci-Fi. And I remember being on that show, and that's why all this is behind me. Because when I was on that show, I thought passions went down with no notice. That was terrifying. So I thought I need a backup plan. And I thought, well, I'm on a makeup show. I got a makeup dad. Why not start a makeup line? So I took the story to QVC. They loved it. They loved the
Okay.
chemistry. They loved the history. They loved the innovation of the products. So it's been 10 years now on QVC and I no longer see it as a backup plan. It really is like this is my baby. Everything you see behind me
Uh-huh.
is my baby.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but then as the years are going on, I was like, I miss acting. I miss doing what I love. And this movie fell into my lap,
Yeah.
and we can go on from there then.
Well, what's the first role that you remember? Because you were in roles as a very, very little child,
Mhm.
but like, what's the first one that you remember, like filming and being on set?
I do remember Star Trek Next Generation,
Okay.
but that was more as like an extra. And I was so like, if you watch it, like you'll see me and I'm just like, huh? I'm like, what? I'm in this like
do,
weird clothing. I do
do,
remember Weird Science. That was my first
oh,
like
Weird Science.
big
Okay.
breakout role. Yeah, when it
Yeah.
was the TV show,
Oh,
and I got to sing in that. So it was like a pirate themed episode, and I was
oh,
like his girlfriend of the week, and so it was a fun one. I remember that
yeah.
was amazing. That was at Universal Studios.
Yeah. Did you ever have your dad do your makeup for a role?
Not for role, but for red carpet. I had to
Okay.
do a flapper. I had to be a flapper for
Oh,
an event. So he did my makeup for that. And he did my makeup obviously for all the Star Treks I did because there was another episode where I played a Vulcan child. So, and I still have those ears to this day. So he applied the ears. And so every time I was on Star Trek, he would always do my makeup.
yeah. So for Passions, you were on there for like a decade, basically,
Yeah.
right? And
Almost. Yeah.
yeah, so what was that experience like, especially at the beginning? I know you have to do so many pages
Yeah.
of memorization dialogue every day on those soap
Every
operas.
day. It was intense, I will
Yeah,
say. And especially being like my first big job out of the gate, and you want to do good. And I knew it was a big deal for NBC to launch this new soap opera. So it's like
yeah.
you want to perform and do your best. Um, the only time that ever, not the only time, but that I on average would have like 25 to 50 pages to learn a night. And we would film 5 to sometimes 6 days a week. The worst I ever had it was 99 pages. And
That's
we didn't have
crazy.
teleprompters, we didn't have cue cards, nothing. It was just pure memorization. That night I cried.
Yeah.
That was six
Wow.
episodes back to back in one day. I pulled
Do
that
you
one
like
out
have the
somehow.
script there that you like look
No.
before the scene, or you have to know it all going
Pretty
into?
much. Yeah. The only
Wow.
times it's funny because I'm doing an event with Galen later. But there were times where because he and I both would just be slammed with so much dialogue. And we would try to find creative ways. Like if we were working, like, there was a whole series where we were like working on a computer, trying to like do investigative stuff. Those were days where we were like, okay, where's the camera? Are you coming behind us? No, you're not. So we are putting our script right here. And we will just read the script and act our way through this.
Wow.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Well, so did you have any kind of nutty, silly, like fun plot lines on your channel? I
Oh
don't know.
my
I've never
goodness,
seen
yeah.
this soap,
If
but
you
I
get a
know.
chance, it's on YouTube. There
Yeah.
is talk of it getting revamped
Uh-huh.
to being today, because we all had kids on the show, so they'd all be grown
Sure.
now. But we had so many. It was, I mean, Passions was ahead of its time. It was insane. You figure it was a soap that was based around a 300-year-old witch and a talking doll. And my character was primarily we were the star-crossed lovers, wrong side of the tracks. I was the American princess, he was the gardener, and we always had past lives that we had to film. So
Ah,
we had, what did we have? There was a caveman one that never, it actually didn't make the cut because I don't know why. We did do Cleopatra, we did Pirates of the Caribbean,
ah.
but we had so many like crazy, crazy stuff like that.
Did you have any like spells and stuff with the witch?
Trying to think. I'm sure I did. I'm blanking right now. I remember I was buried alive. I was killed
Okay.
many times.
Good.
I was married many times. Um, but the buried alive, that was a tough one because they
Yeah.
actually did put me in a coffin and lowered me in the ground and then
Oh
had the dirt
wow.
go on top of it. And that I have like a tough time now with closed spaces ever since then.
You're making it realistic here on your soap
Yeah, I was
opera.
like, guys, this is too real. In fact, thank God for Rodney Van Johnson because I started screaming. They didn't put a mic in with me, so I started screaming, "Get me out of here!" And Rodney was always like, "Guys, I think McKenzie is a problem." I was like, "Get me out!"
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's the thing about those soaps that I do appreciate is when you've got like clones and wild, like people coming back from the dead and
Well, I had
evil
amnesia. The
evil
one,
twins and
yeah,
stuff like
I
that. I
did.
love
I
it.
didn't have an evil twin, but I did. I turned evil the last year.
Oh, okay,
But
good.
prior to that, which actually was way more fun than playing the happy, the sweet
Yeah.
Sheridan. But prior to that, um, probably the worst but best storyline because we made the cover of Rolling Stones for being the worst television show ever.
Oh
But it was a
no.
guilty pleasure simply because there were a lot of storylines, but my storyline started off with me. I actually did, and that was the other thing. When I got the phone call that I got the job, they said, "Is your passport up to date? Because we're sending you to France to film for the first week." My character was best friends with Princess Diana, and they
Oh
had
wow.
me go into, and this was and mind you, this aired only a year after she died. So they had my character being the American princess go into, I had to drive that same tunnel Princess Diana drove in and died in. I broke out in hives. Like I was so like freaked out by all this. I
Yeah.
drove through that tunnel and then we mimicked a car crash. They then had my character go to a French hospital and go to the white light and hear a British voice tell her, "It's not your time, Sheridan, go back."
What?
It was so in bad taste. And I don't know why it didn't click when I was filming it, because I think I was just so
Uh-huh.
excited to be in France. But then I get home and I'm watching it with my parents. I'm like, oh my God, this is the beginning and the end of my career. I'm done. This is so tasteless. It exploded. It became such a big thing. And the only thing was is we got banned in England and we got banned in France.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I could see how you'd be like excited. Hey, I'm over here in France. I'm
Yeah,
shooting.
19
Like,
years old, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
woo, party, yeah. And it's like, but then I watch it and reality sinks in. I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is
But I guess that's the
tacky.
good thing about soaps is that they just keep moving forward.
But
You
yeah,
know,
it was like
that
nothing
that
happened.
that
Yep.
we can have people like walk out the door one age, come back a different age. Like it's
Oh,
just you're just moving forward.
you do. I mean, I would walk out one door with I remember blonde hair and I walked back
Yeah.
in with dark hair. I was like,
Yep.
guys, continuity? Like, no, it didn't exist.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's interesting for sure. So for Star Trek, what is it like to have a role on Star Trek? Like just all the different aspects that go into it and the set and everything. Like, what's that like?
That was magical for me because I
Mhm.
grew up with all those people. So I
Yeah.
grew up on the set of TNG. I remember, all the actors, they were like aunts and uncles for me. I remember Brent Spiner giving me singing lessons, Denise Crosby
Oh
giving me
wow.
acting lessons. Um, I have so many amazing memories. So when I got on there then as almost an adult and got to play character, um, it was so exciting. And there was talk of bringing me back as Ensign. No, it was Kim bringing me back as his girlfriend because they liked our chemistry. So that was when I got that phone call. I thought, oh, cool. I'm moving forward with Star Trek. The only like daunting thing was the dialogue, obviously, because it's so science based and so specific. So that was tough. But overall, amazing. Loved
Uh-huh.
I mean, that whole cast and crew, and I can't say enough good things. That's why I'm actually really sad because next week is the Star Trek convention here in Las Vegas, and I was supposed to go, and I got called to QVC. So I'm going to
Oh.
QVC, but I was so bummed because it's like reuniting with family.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I just to this day, I mean that whole cast, it's just I can't say enough good things about it.
Mm. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about this Love in the Clouds. Like, how did you get involved in it to begin with?
So this script had been out there. Let's see, we're in July right now. Yeah, we're in
Yes.
July or August. I'm like, where did
Yeah,
months
I don't
going
know
in?
when this will post, but
Yeah.
we're recording this on the 30th of
Okay.
July.
So this script I knew about over a year ago. It
Okay.
was brought to me. I was kind of packaged with it. At the time, it was not a Hallmark movie. It was a hopeful Hallmark movie.
Right.
Um, Different executive producing team. My agent was and the agent to the writer and me. And so we were kind of packaged together with this. Um, and then it started to just like slowly come together. But if you notice, the story takes place in New Mexico. Now, for Passions fans that know the storyline of Passions, there was a big deal of Sheridan and Luis in New Mexico. This script was meant to be for Galen Gehring and myself as a
Oh,
reuniting of
yeah.
Sheridan and Luis. But because people were not moving fast enough on the production side, again, not Hallmark, on the production
Sure.
side, Galen's on Days of Our Lives. That's you got he had 6 weeks. You need 6 weeks notice to get somebody out of a contract.
Yeah.
So because it just wasn't moving, and it was like every month we were like, did like what's going on? And I would keep in touch with Galen. He's like, what's happening? I need notice.
Yeah.
So finally, then we get word that we're filming in December, but time had passed and we couldn't get Galen. So
Yeah.
lost Galen. Next person in line, Eva Mendez's brother or cousin or something. I forget what it
Oh,
was, but best friends
yeah.
with one of the executives. And I know it went to Hallmark and they're like, no, absolutely no. Like, it couldn't act. It was not like your traditional Hallmark either. Then it
Uh,
went to Colin Ferguson. And
Oh,
that was also kind of like a maybe. And then it finally came down to, no, you have to hire Paul. Like there's no like we've gone in circles now. We're wasting time. Like you need to hire. Like you have no choice at this
well, it's
point.
interesting because he hadn't done one in a while for
No,
Hallmark,
no.
so we were
And then
all
it was
kind of like, oh,
crazy. Well, and it was crazy to me because I remember like one of the executives calling me going, "Yeah, I don't know if he's right for this role. I just don't know." Like, and I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like he's Hallmark royalty, basically. You don't think he's good looking, but you're a dude. As a woman, I find him pretty darn good looking. So I don't know why you have a problem with this casting, but he's perfect. Like to me, he was perfect. If we couldn't
uh-huh.
do the Sheridan and Luis thing, he was perfect. So thank God Hallmark stepped in and they're like, okay, this he has to play the character. So that's where it finally then settled in December. And poor Paul, I know, had to cancel some venue I think he had in New Jersey to make this work. And it was a big round robin, basically, and little bit of a cluster, if you will,
Yeah.
as it shows in the aftermath of what you're seeing on screen, why it was such a cluster F.
Yeah, yeah. Was there ever any talk of you just pairing you with Lorenzo Lamas? Was that ever a thing, or was he always going to be the dad?
He was always the dad.
Okay.
He was always the dad. Because I mean, I'm in my 40s, so
Right.
we're different age ranges. I mean, yeah, it can have my husband's 20 years older than me, so it wouldn't be weird for me. But no, there
Yeah.
was never talk of that. It was always like I said, it was going to be Galen, and it was then it got done to those other two, and then it was no, Paul is the only one that we're going to allow for this to move forward. So no, Lorenzo Lamas was always set as the dad. I think Gail was always set as the mom. But
Because
if you think about,
she seemed like the stranger casting choice because
yeah, I
it
don't know if she was set. To be honest with you, I don't know if
yeah.
she was set. Because the thing, if you look at Lorenzo Lamas, he looks like Galen Gehring. So if you get a chance,
Mm,
pull the two
yeah.
up, and you'll be like, oh, I
Oh
see it.
yeah.
Right? It's like when I mean, and that's where it was like I think they
Because
kind of had to bring Gale in because they needed somebody that looked closer to
so
Paul.
Gail would be Gail is 11 years older than Paul Green.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was just
there
kind of
was a
like,
lot of like,
what? Like we were
what?
just kind of like, are there just not that many like older actors in home? Like, why is it like why couldn't they have found
I know.
somebody who like what's
Yeah,
happening?
it was a lot of favors. There were a lot of favors called in.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, if you knew the amount that these actors got paid, including myself, you'd choke.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
It
sure
was
that's
it was
true.
really really gross.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, don't even talk about like poor Alexis and KP because it was like I don't think they walked away with a cent because they had to put it
Uh,
into the hotel they stayed in and the car they rented.
right. Yeah,
So
people don't realize that about like I remember there was a Rebel Wilson thing that she was doing the other day where she was talking about how her role in Bridesmaids, she actually paid money by the end to be in Bridesmaids.
yeah,
And we don't we
essentially,
don't we don't
we don't
realize
think
that
about that.
sometimes. Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
thing for me, for when I stepped into it, even as low as the money was, I agreed to it because I wanted to get into Hallmark. That was a dream for me.
Yeah,
It's like getting into voiceover work. It just doesn't
sure.
happen. So when this happened and there was talk of it being Hallmark, but then I was confused because when we were on set, we were told, don't say it's a Hallmark movie. The SAG reps came in and they said, don't say it's a Hallmark movie. So we're
Oh,
like, I got confused then. I'm like, well, wait, I'm calling my agent going, is this not a Hallmark movie? And she's like, no, I'm pretty sure this Hallmark is buying it. So it was a what is it called? An acquired film for Hallmark.
right, right.
So that's why there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. And also even down to the script. The script you're seeing in the very end was not the script that I was given.
Yeah.
That was not the script that I was given a year ago. So that
Yeah.
changed literally. Like, thank God, because of my soap background, it would change the night before filming. So I'd have to relearn everything the night
Oh
before.
my gosh. Well, so it was filmed in Albuquerque, is that right?
That is true. Yes.
Oh, okay.
We at least got that right.
So was that fun though to get to be in Albuquerque, get to
Was
see?
amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
I gotta say was incredible. December's a little rough. It's cold.
Yeah.
The balloon fiesta takes place in October, so technically we should have been in not so bundled up. But we were filming. There were some nights we'd go to midnight on that
Yeah.
field, and it was freezing. And there was just
Yeah.
one heater for the entire cast and the crew. So we just had to kind of band together and do the best we could just to make it work and make it happen.
Uh-huh.
Albuquerque itself, I actually flipped out over. The whole concept, even Paul and I, towards like middle of it, we were like, he came to me, he's like, is it just me or are you like slightly obsessed with balloons now? I was like, it's not just you. I'm like obsessed with, like, this is so freaking cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would bet that you and Paul would get along quite well because he
We
is,
were, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you can
yeah,
tell like I love turquoise and like he does. We
yeah,
really
yeah.
were like two peas in a pod. And I always say this that I don't, but it sounds weird when I say it, that it was like working with a brother, but that sounds so gross to say it that way. But we really were like, I mean, we just had the best time together. We had the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
We have the same like love of the same movies where he would like be on camera and I'd be like sitting waiting, and he would quote, like we'd be in between takes and he'd quote a movie and I would like spit my coffee out laughing, and everybody else is like, "Why is that funny?" I'm like, you don't know Tommy Boy? Like, come on."
Oh,
So he and I had the best, and I'm so
yeah,
grateful that it did end up being Paul because I had the best time with him.
yeah.
And I know people were bumping on that we didn't look right together. And I agree. I actually do agree with that, with how I looked. And there's a whole story behind that. But as human to human, freaking love that man. Like, again, two peas in a pod.
Well, it wasn't I mean, I said in the podcast episode on it, I said that even if you had Reese Witherspoon and Matthew McConaughey in the movie, it would not have made a difference. Like it was just not
Mhm.
like I was hesitant to really put much blame on the actors, even though I didn't feel like the chemistry was there that it translated. But again, you could have Academy Award winning actors in these roles, and it's not gonna work because it just the plot that they came up the with your bosses wanting to do this expose
Yeah.
on this balloon. Like
And all that changed.
it was
And that's what I'm
bizarre.
saying. I gotta give credit. I mean, not credit, but that wasn't the script that we were given.
Yeah, I'm
That wasn't the
sure.
story that we were supposed to tell. And that was the bummer in it. It was cute what came out, but not what we were going to tell.
Yeah.
Um, so that was number one. Number two, it just everything transpired and happened so fast. And I agree with you on one hand, where here's another little piece of background. So typically when you do a movie, you get to have like a table read. You get time with your actors. I
Yeah.
literally met Paul first day of filming in that house that's supposed to be his house. It was like, "Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, we're gonna be
Yeah.
kissing at some point. Like, actually, tomorrow we're gonna be making out tomorrow." So it's
Right.
like, how do you build chemistry? I mean, we had to really build it fast, and something that funny, but not, I mean, funny now, not at the time. But the day that we had to do our first kissing scene, which was actually the airport, was the first day we had to ever
Okay.
kiss.
Uh-huh.
Um, he showed up to the set sick,
Oh
and
no.
I'm the kind of person that I am like, you know, there is no TMI. Like I don't care. You can tell me anything. Like, and I will say anything as well. So I went to Paul and I said, "Look, because I'm technically in every single scene and working every single day. I don't know you very well, um, but I do need to know, like, what are we talking here? What
Yeah.
color? What end is it coming out?
Yeah.
Fever? No, like, what are we talking? Just so
COVID
I
test and
know. Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
what is it?"
Yeah.
And he said, he looked at me and he was like, "You're awesome." Secondly, he was just like, "I think it's just food poisoning." So we found out it was food poisoning.
Oh,
I said, "Listen, I'm so sorry you've got to be here and do this." I said, "Just throw up, do whatever you gotta do, take an Altoid, let's get this over with, and let's get you
yeah.
laying down." And then that's actually, it was that day that built our chemistry, because that day when he was sick, I wouldn't leave his side. I
Mm,
stayed by him the whole time. Got him Gatorade, got him soup, just wanted to make sure that he was high, because that's where like the maternal side of me comes out. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that you get well and you get better. I forget filming. And I even told him that. I said, forget the filming. I just want to make sure that as a human, you're okay.
yeah.
So that's where we really we clicked. That's where everything was like, I like you.
So did they have plans to film in the balloons, but then it just didn't work, or was it always sort of the plans to do the green screen and all of that?
Well, number one, it was supposed to be better green screen than that. It was supposed to be way better. That's what I was told. And there was a whole green screen studio we were supposed to go to
Uh-huh.
that never happened. Um, then we were going to go up in a hot air balloon one of the days, and if it in real time, it would have been considered a red flag day. But people were still going to move forward with it. But thank God, this one girl, Chelsea, our script supervisor, who is a hot air balloonist, she was like, if you put these two actors up in the balloon, you're going to kill them. So
Yeah.
ended up like moving by my, I didn't hear this until afterwards. I was
Uh-huh.
like, all right, whatever. Like, it's my job. I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah.
Um, so I didn't know any of this. All I heard was they started to like get the hot air balloon up, and the wind picked up and it like went like the truck. I don't know exactly what happened because I wasn't on set when this happened, but it ended up ripping the hot air balloon in half. So thank God we
Oh.
did not go up in the balloon, and we never did. After that, it
Yeah.
was like, nope, not doing it.
Well, I
Nobody's
mean,
going up.
I wondered, the reason why I wondered if it was always the plan is it just seems like that it would be an extremely difficult place to film, like under the best of circumstances, because they're just so small,
Right. They are
so that it
small.
would
And
be
that's
really
why, I mean,
hard.
the green screen made the most sense for something like that. But again, we were in, so we filmed so much in the museum, the hot air balloon museum of Albuquerque, and you see us walk through there. It was our gift shop. It
Uh-huh.
was the puppy thing. It was I mean, it was everything. So in a corner of that museum, they literally just put a green tarp behind us and on the floor, and then had to like, I mean, I felt so
Oh
bad for the
wow. In the
DP because
museum?
in the museum after hours. Like this was so janky and so like, what am I doing right now? Exactly. Thank you.
That is
See,
hilarious. I can't
that's why
believe
I'm like, I gotta tell this story.
that.
When I saw your podcast and when you gave me a review on this, I was like, we need to talk. So 'cause I remember
Well,
being in this hot air balloon going, you've got to be kidding me right now. Like,
yeah.
what?
Well, I mean, I
Okay.
just couldn't figure out why they didn't just say, okay, we'd love to be actually in, we'd love to be in but let's just do it right in front. We're gonna be right in front of the balloon. Like to me, that would have been a better second option than like whatever they
Yeah.
came up with. It would have been
It
better.
would have
Like,
been
oh,
so much
we're
better. It
about
would
to
have been.
go. We're right in
And to be
front.
honest with you, so there was supposed to be a part two and potentially part three. Will that happen? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, given how bad the green screen was, at the very least, they should have just cut that
Yeah.
that year later part. That should have just been
Because
like,
also, like, not only are they very, very small, but they're also really loud. So of
yeah,
course you'd have to ADR anything that you said. You'd have to like,
yeah,
so it just makes the most
which we
sense.
did anyhow. We did so
Yeah, I'm
much ADR
sure.
anyhow.
Yeah.
So, but that's where it's like, we're doing this anyhow.
So
But
it
that's
just would
where
make
I'm
the
just
most
like,
sense to be in front of it and be like,
but
we're
the
just
sad thing
about
is,
to go, you
we
know.
had this, there was apparently this studio right down the street, not even like across the field from where the hot air balloon was, that was full on made for real green screen. And I saw a year ago, I saw how this place operated. I was like, this is amazing. Like they showed things
Yeah.
where a woman was walking by a tree with snow on it, and you see the snow fall on her shoulder. I kid you not, Rachel, it looked so real that I was like, this is going to be phenomenal. You put us in a hot air balloon, this is going to
Yeah.
look unbelievable. And then I see this show up.
I can't believe they were in the museum. That is so funny to me.
I mean, had you been
The
there on set,
magic
you
of
have been like,
movies. Well,
yeah,
I mean, with your background, you must have been frustrated at, like
yes,
I said you must have been frustrated on a lot of levels, but I said in the recap that I felt like the makeup team did not do you or Gail any favors. Like I
correct.
felt like they did not make it was just a little heavy. It just didn't. I was like, I would be so frustrated if I
Yeah.
was those actresses.
So here's a little bit of backstory behind all that. Well, I'm gonna break it down. We'll start with the
Yeah, yeah.
hair.
I want to know.
So I'll start with the hair. So going back before this movie, before anything, it was July actually of last year. I was dealing with a lot. Health issues.
Yeah.
Um, my hair was falling out because of health issues. My dog died. My kid was sick, like very sick. I was
Wow.
dealing with a
Yeah.
lot at one time, and I just had to almost like shave my head because it just was, I just was, it wouldn't stop coming out. So then it starts to grow a little bit. And then I'm supposed to do this Sheridan and Louise storyline, which if you look at Sheridan and Louise as Sheridan, I had short hair. So it was perfect. I was like, okay, great. Wasn't the Hallmark look, but okay, great. But then I reach out to the executive on as things changed, and I'm like, okay, we got to pivot, I'm sure. And I reached out to him and I said, what do we do? And he's like, well, you got to have long hair because that's the Hallmark thing. I was like, okay. So $2,000 later, out of my own pocket for extensions on a pixie cut.
Wow.
But I was begging for a wig. I said, if we need to have long hair, can I just do a wig? Because I mean, thank God I found this amazing
Well,
girl in
it's
Vegas.
so absurd. Why do you like, especially being a a more mature lead, like almost all women when they get to a certain age have shorter hair. Like it's
It happens.
it's
Yeah.
absurd. Like that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like I know very few women in their, in their 50s, you're in your 40s, but still, like I knew very few women in their 50s that have long hair. That's unusual. And so,
It
like,
is.
for sort of the archetype of your character, it really would make the most sense to have short hair.
It kind of would.
Yeah,
I mean,
bonkers.
listen, I didn't care either way. I just,
Uh-huh.
at the end of the day, I would have, if I had to do it, I would have preferred a wig. And I bought
Right.
so many wigs on top of it. I dragged my husband through Las Vegas to go to like
Oh
some of
God.
the creepiest areas to find wigs. The money I spent on wigs, I mean, that are in my closet, but they didn't get used. So I got
Yeah,
the
that's
extensions
frustrating.
and just thought, okay, this is what we're going to work with. And that's why, but the one thing I did not have time to do because I didn't get to Albuquerque was get it colored.
Mm.
So because I had it short, because I wasn't a fan of having it as short as I did. I had to. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't. It was out of necessity. So I figured if I got to go short, I'm going to bleach it. Like that's a fun look. I'm going to rock it. I'm going to rock the short hair, bleach it out. But then I didn't have time to do color. So that's why you see the gnarly color with the extensions. And then the poor hairstylist had to also clip in some because it wasn't filling in properly for camera. So she did the best she could. Then when it came to makeup, nobody knew like what was appropriate. So it just was the concept they came up with was, well, let's make her a reporter. And a lot of reporters wear a lot of makeup.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it is true. And when
Yeah.
you see a lot of hair,
It's
they're
like in
highly made up.
that movie Bombshell, about the
Yeah.
fox. Yeah, they talk about the sparkly lips. Yeah,
Yes,
that's true. That's a
exactly.
good point. I hadn't thought
So
of that.
I was like, I guess that makes sense. But it was heavy makeup,
Yeah, it
heavy makeup.
was.
And I'm not a fan. I mean, you can see I wear some makeup, but I'm to be honest with you, I like a more like
Yeah.
subtle makeup look. I don't like the heavy. I mean, like I have almost no eyeshadow, like a little wash of color on my eyelids, and that's it. Like I don't do contour, I don't do the highlights, I
Yeah.
don't do I don't like
Yeah.
that. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
So when I took a photo, I'll never forget. Said because my husband is a director and a production designer, and he was um actually he was out of the country at the time and but this man has done like Batman, Superman, I, Robot, Independence Day. He did Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown on Netflix. He's getting ready to do a new movie, doing something with Disney. Like he does a lot of stuff, a lot of iconic films. And I remember sending him a photo of how I looked and he had no words. And
Oh
I was like,
no.
that's
You're like,
not good.
shoot.
And because the thing I love about my husband, he's so honest with me. And he was like,
Yeah.
that's a choice.
Did you feel like when you were making it? I mean, obviously with all these changes, but you kind of felt like, okay, this is steam. This is kind of a mess. You
Yeah,
felt it. Yeah, you
I
knew.
did. I did
Yeah.
feel it. And it wasn't, to be honest with you, as far as the makeup goes, the person that stepped in and saved the day, a little, like saved the best he could, was
Yeah.
Paul. I finally
Okay.
turned to Paul and I was like, what do you think of this? And he was like, he's like, it's not Hallmark. I'll be honest with you. It's not
Yeah.
Hallmark. Like you need to be almost scrubbed clean. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So we tried to take it,
Mhm.
but at that point we had already filmed all of the Jared's home things. So
Oh.
the sad thing is that that was the beginning of the movie and towards the end of the movie. So I went from this heavy makeup because the concept that they came up with was, let's start with the heavy reporter makeup from Seattle, and then she gets into the New Mexico lifestyle and lightens her makeup.
Mm,
But because nobody thought that storyline through, that, well, when I leave that house, that's the end, towards the end of the movie. Why am I so heavily made
mm,
up? There was like
right.
nobody like keeping an eye on these. So it just was like, and yes,
Yeah.
because of my husband's films, because of the movies that I'm used to, um, this was unlike anything that I've experienced. Now, granted, I've done indie films, but
Yeah.
even some of like the lowest indie were like still a little bit like,
Yeah. Well, they use such harsh lighting in these TV movie of the week films, whether whoever they end up on, that you have to be really careful about the makeup because
you do.
it can really add. And I it's not doesn't have anything to do with the appearance of the actors. It's the makeup, that
Yeah.
because all these people are all beautiful, beautiful people. But yeah, sometimes it's like they don't consider the fact that usually they're in like white office type rooms and there have these
Yeah.
white lights that are
Yeah.
bright and I forget sometimes because I'm so used to them, but then I'll watch one every now and then with my dad, and my dad almost always points it out like, oh, why is she wearing so much makeup, why is she wearing, and because
Interesting.
I'm so used to it. But to him it really stands out because you're just not used to that kind of lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that lighting,
Right.
and also, you think about heavy makeup, even on a 20-year-old. A 20-year-old can look 40 with too much makeup.
Yeah, you're right.
So
That's
imagine
true.
you put too much makeup on a 30, 40-year-old, and it's just gonna age you no matter
Yeah, you're
what. But
right.
like I've seen 20-year-olds with like the heavy eyeliner, the dark lipstick, and it just they look 40 to 50 sometimes. So
True.
when makeup is done too heavy, doesn't matter how young the person is, it's never appealing, it's never attractive. So
Hmm.
I just had to roll with it because I was like, okay, I
Sure.
don't want to rock the boat. I don't know what I'm the newbie here. Like I'm not going to say anything. And it wasn't until Paul made a comment and I was like, oh my God. Whew, okay.
Well, so obviously this was an imperfect experience, but what do you kind of take from it? What do you kind of take with it to become a better actor, better person going forward from it?
To speak my voice. Don't
Yeah,
stay quiet.
right.
That's something. And I should know better because I've worked on enough projects that I should have known better, but I just was so desperate and excited to do a Hallmark movie that I kept my mouth shut. So that was a big lesson for me to never stay quiet again. If something doesn't feel right, I will speak up with respect.
Yeah.
Um, the other person I held tight to was the director, Larry. I absolutely love and adore that man. Um, I know he almost quit like 3 times, and to this day I don't know why. But there were days where I would just go to him and I'd be like, "You're not allowed to quit. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, but you're not allowed to quit. Like you got to say, if I'm here, you're here." And I have so much love for that man.
Yeah.
So I've learned to speak up, and I know the Hallmark audience didn't really take to me in that movie as I had hoped. I know that there was a lot of mishaps with that movie, but I still am holding on to hope that there will be another Hallmark movie to come along. I'm hoping to God that the fans can like just see past this one, forget it ever happened. The great thing
Yes.
is the executive actually wrote my name wrong if you go on to like look
Oh,
up the
they
movie
did.
Love in the Clouds. So I'm not attached to the movie, so it's
Oh, that's
great.
hilarious.
So I could easily come back in another Hallmark movie, nobody will even know.
Well, I think doing things like this goes a long. I mean, I think it goes a long way in is definitely as far as the fandom, and it's a very, very uh kind, loving fandom. Like they'll have their opinions and they'll be their,
Yeah.
things, I think that this was a smart. At first, I was when you said that you were interested in coming on, I was kind of like, she listened to the podcast. I don't want to offend her, like I don't want to. And but I admire you for
Thank you.
being for doing this and for I think that hopefully they'll give you another shot at it. I think it could
Well,
be.
I appreciate that. And that's
Yeah.
when I listened to your podcast, I agreed with everything you said. I couldn't fight you on that.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I didn't say that when the movie came out and a couple days after, and I started seeing some of the comments on Facebook, and there were some very brutal
Yeah.
comments. And my husband was listening, like I was reading off some of them, and he was like, "Well, that's like probably like a couple of the same people over and over." I was like, "No, this is a different person per
Yeah.
comment."
Yeah.
And he was shocked. He was shocked at how strong I stayed. And I would be lying if it didn't. This is where my message to people that do feel they need to make a comment: be careful,
Yeah.
because everybody's a human being. I had a very close moment of feeling like, why am I on this planet? Why
Mhm.
why am I even here? I should just end it all now. I'm the ugliest, oldest thing anybody's ever seen. So what am I doing? It lasted like 60 seconds, but still, it's
Yeah.
hurtful. And people need to understand that when they come out with such brutal, I'm not telling you about your podcast. You were very kind, actually. Some of the things that were said were just so brutally mean that
Yeah.
people need to remember we're human beings. Each one of us, we have a heart, we have a soul, we have a brain, and we hurt, we love, we have all the emotions that everybody else does. We're not immune.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
my dad kept telling me,
There's a way with providing the feedback without like I don't think somebody should have I think false positivity can be not good as well, but like there's a way to provide the feedback and still have dignity and kindness. I believe
absolutely.
that very strongly.
Absolutely. And that's why I give you credit for, as much as you didn't like the movie, you critiqued it properly, because everybody has a right to an opinion. It's
Hmm.
when people get really down and dirty. That's where it's like, is that really necessary? Like,
Yeah.
I remember my dad, he finally, because I was at my parents' house at the time because I was filming another movie. And he had said to me, he said, "Listen, we used to tell Sylvester Stallone, do not read the reviews."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got to do the same." I said, "But it's hard. My phone keeps pinging and I don't know how to turn the notifications off." And I was like, all I could do was pray to God for the next movie to come out so that people would stop looking at Love in the Clouds and they would go on to the next one. And then it
Yeah.
slowly started to peter out. But that's why I was really, determined to talk to you, to just kind of like clear the air and just get it out there that I agree with 95% of what was said and talked about with that movie, because there were a lot of mishaps. There are a lot of things that didn't need to happen the way they
Yeah.
did. And I think it could have been a fantastic movie had done properly.
Mhm. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to entertain people,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a
At the end of the day, it's a movie. We're not curing
yeah,
cancer.
yeah,
It's a
that's right.
movie.
That's right.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
I have some fun get to know you questions. So I like to end the interviews off with. So the
Cool.
first question is, what's the best ice cream flavor?
Ooh, chocolate brownie,
Okay. What's your favorite color?
purple.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What music are you into?
Broadway.
Oh,
But I do have a love of Foo Fighters and U2, but anything Hamilton.
oh
Oof.
man.
Oh, Hamilton comes on, you lose me.
Well, I'm with you too because I also am a
Oh,
theater critic, and so
oh,
I
I love it.
love show tunes.
Oh,
And, yeah,
show tunes. That's like the one area where me and my family are like this,
yeah.
because I completely burnt them out in Hamilton because I was like every day, like playing it in the car. So now I got to listen to it by myself.
Wow, you could just be like, "Well, you losers,
Exactly.
I'll
I'm like,
keep."
here you are. Yeah.
That's
They are losers.
yeah. All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Ooh, sushi or pizza?
Oh, nice. Good. What is your go-to date night activity if you're going doing something?
Ah, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think. Hiking, actually. I really like
Hiking.
nighttime walks.
Yeah.
We have something called Spring Mountain Ranch near us, and I am determined to go and take my husband on a date because they have this looking for scorpions tour. And it sounds crazy, but they give you the lights and you go late at night and you like look because there's so many scorpions in Las Vegas. I want to do this so badly. Like that to
Oh, in
me is
Las
such like a
Vegas.
yeah, that to me would be like a cool date night.
Yeah, that sounds fun. All right. Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
That's a tough one because I have both. I
Uh-huh.
absolutely I love cats. I have a 16-year-old cat and I have a 1-year-old cattle lab German
Oh.
Shepherd mix I
Oh,
rescued a year
wow.
ago. His name's Meatloaf. I have Meatloaf and Kitty.
Meatloaf. Good. All right. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains? I guess you like
Mountains.
hiking. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Oh, it's torn. It's a tough one between Halloween and Christmas.
Hmm. Do you have like an epic Halloween costume?
That's some pretty good ones.
Yeah. I
People
would
told me they
think
really liked last year's.
I would think with makeup designers in your family, you must have
Yeah.
had some pretty cool Halloween costumes.
Yeah. I mean, my dad made me one year because I was obsessed with musicals. He turned me into cats. I was the
Oh,
Jellicle cat.
nice. Uh-huh.
It was so good what he did that as we were driving to school, we got pulled over by the cops. My parents were like, what did we
Uh-huh.
do wrong? The police just they saw my face. They wanted to see the makeup up close.
No
That was
way.
it. Yeah, no ticket, like no. They just wanted to see me up close. So my
Only in
dad did kill
California
it.
with
Yeah, only in California. Exactly. I was a Ferengi one year. Last year I did myself, and it was simply because the way my hair was cut, because it was this like pixie mullet. I was
uh-huh.
Tiger King. So
Oh,
I,
nice.
I put
Okay.
a tiger costume on my dog, and I put the like button down, like ripped off sleeves, mustache. I was Joe Exotic last year.
Nice. Well, what is your favorite romantic movie?
Oh my gosh. Love Actually is probably it's up there as probably my number one. Trying to think.
Okay.
Oh no, Somewhere in Time. Somewhere in Time.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
choice. All right, you did it. You answered all the questions.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think feel like this is a perspective that we don't often get to hear,
Yeah.
and that I mean, and it makes sense because a lot of times we're talking to them before the movie came out, and so they're trying to promote it. But we don't get this kind of autopsy of the film and that sort of
Perfect word, autopsy.
behind the scenes perspective, which I think is really interesting. And I hope the listeners had a lot of fun with this. And I appreciate you coming on and doing it. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So if people want to follow you on socials and stuff, how do they do that?
So my Instagram is M Westmore.
Okay.
My TikTok is also M Westmore. My Instagram is a little bit more tailored.
Okay.
My TikTok is just all over the place, and that's where you also will see like the real, like very real side of me. Um, Facebook is McKenzie Westmore, and then X I've had forever because I'm doing Face Off. That's how we started being sci-fi. But my
Okay.
name's too long, so it's my full name minus the E on the end. So it's Mackenzie Westmore, no E.
Okay. Great. Great. Well, very good. We will definitely have all that in the description. People can follow you.
Thank you.
And thanks again for coming on. We definitely
Thank you.
appreciate it. I'd like to thank McKenzie for coming on the podcast. This was a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I do. I think she took a real risk to come on and share all different sides of her job and what and her background and everything. So I hope you all enjoyed it. So you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure that you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We appreciate that so much. That helps us a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group, which is the biggest way you can support everything that we are doing. We have patron activities every month, and we have other benefits. So please take a look at that. And we have our merch store. So I really appreciate your support there. And thanks again to McKenzie. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.